Nutrition Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
We want to look at the digestive system of farm animals. Digestive system of the farm animals. Now, that system comprises of all the organs and tissues that are involved in the digestion of food substances in farm animals. The system comprises of all the organs and tissues that are involved in the digestion of food substances in farm animals. But before we go to that, let's look at the way animals are classified based on the digestive system they possess. Farm animals are classified into two groups based on the nature of the digestive system. We have the monogastric animals and the polygastric animals. The monogastric animals are called non-ruminant animals. They are called non-ruminant animals. They are the animals that cannot chew the cud. They are the animals that have only one stomach compartment and they cannot digest cellulose. Meanwhile, examples of such include, example of monogastric animals include rabbit, pig, and poultry birds. But we have the polygastric animals, which are called the ruminant animals. They are the animals that have four stomach compartments and they can chew the cud, they can digest cellulose, they can ruminate. The four stomach compartments are called the rumen, the reticulum, the omasum, and the abomasum. Examples of these polygastric animals include goat, sheep, and cattle. So what we are going to do, we are going to study digestion in monogastric first. Then later we'll study digestion in polygastric animals. Digestion in monogastric animals, then later we'll look at digestion in the polygastric animals. Now, digestion in monogastric animals. Monogastric animals, like rabbit, has a long tubular structure that runs from the mouth to the anus. This long tubular structure is called alimentary canal. Alimentary canal. Alimentary canal is a long tubular structure that runs from the mouth of the animal that runs to the stomach. Now, along this alimentary canal, there is a section of it that digestion can take place, and that section is called digestive tract. Digestive tract. Digestive tract runs from the mouth and ends at the small intestine or ileum. Mouth to anus. This one, mouth to small intestines. Or you can see mouth to the ileum. Now, there are certain terms that must be understood before we go into full study of digestion in farm animals. Terms like ingestion. Ingestion is the introduction of food into the alimentary canal through the mouth. Ingestion is the introduction of food into the alimentary canal through the mouth. Then you have digestion. Digestion is the process by which the food substances that are introduced to the alimentary canal through the mouth is broken down by the action of enzymes from complex insoluble forms to simple and soluble forms, which can be easily absorbed to the bloodstream. I take it again. Digestion is the process by which the food substances consumed by the animal are broken down from complex, massive form into simple and soluble form, which can be absorbed into the bloodstream. Then we have absorption. Absorption. Absorption is the process by which digested food is absorbed into the bloodstream. This takes place inside the villi of the ileum. Ileum is the second part of small intestine. It has certain structures called villi, singular villus. This villi is inside this villi that the food substances that have been digested will be absorbed into the bloodstream. assimilation. This is the process by which absorbed food substances are transported and distributed to different parts of the body. Assimilation is the process by which the digested food, which has been absorbed into the bloodstream, is carried by the blood to all parts of the body. Then we have ingestion. Ingestion is the process by which undigested food in the body is excreted out of the body through the anus. Ingestion is the process by which the undigested food is excreted, is removed out of the alimentary canal through the anus. Okay, now let's go to the proper study of the digestion in monogastric animals. Digestion in monogastric animals. Digestion in monogastric animals occur only at the point where we have enzymes, because it's only the enzymes that can make digestion to occur. It is only the enzymes that can make digestion to occur. Let's assume that we have something like this nature. Let's assume we have something like this nature. Now, this is pancreas. There, we have all this. Then go to a place. So we have this. Or rather, now this is called esophagus. Esophagus goes to the mouth of the animal. Now, so let's say this is the mouth, this is the stomach, this is the liver, this is gallbladder, this is bile duct, this is pancreas, this is duodenum. This is ileum. Duodenum and ileum put together form the small intestine. Then you have the appendix, you have the cecum, you have the colon, you have the rectum, you have the anus. The three of cecum, colon, and rectum make up the large intestine. Now this is called the alimentary canal. Canal of a monogastric animal, let's say rabbit. Now, digestion occurs along this alimentary canal. Digestion can be broken only to 4 places where enzymes are secreted. It is where these enzymes are secreted that digestion can take place. That's number 1. Then number 2, digestion can only take place under certain pH condition, which we call pH medium. Now, let's go. The first place where digestion can occur is in the mouth. The second place where digestion can occur is in the stomach. The third place where digestion can occur is in the duodenum. Duodenum is the first part of small intestine. And the first place where digestion can occur is in the ileum. Ileum is the second part of small intestine. Now, in the mouth, when the animal takes the food to the mouth, the animal masticates it with the teeth. And saliva is produced from the salivary gland in the mouth. saliva is produced and mixed with the food. This saliva contains an enzyme known as ptyalin. Enzyme ptyalin. This enzyme ptyalin is a salivary amylase, meaning that it is an enzyme that can digest starch. Amylase is from the word starch. Amylase from starch. So salivary amylase from the mouth will digest the starch in the food. The starch in the food will be digested, and the food becomes watery because there is saliva in the food, and the name is changed to bolus. It is now swallowed through the esophagus to the stomach. Now, in the mouth, the pH at which the maybe I should make a table. Let's see table. Let's say we have tables of secretion, then enzymes, then pH medium, then substrate, then product. Now, secretion is the liquid that comes from a gland that contains the enzymes that will digest the food substance. Now, this is the region of the body where digestion takes place. The enzymes is what is produced from the secretion, from the gland, which digests the food substance. pH medium is either acidic or alkaline medium that will aid proper digestion of food substances. The substrate means the thing that the enzyme will act upon, and the product means the thing that the enzyme will change it to. So substrate is the class of food that the enzyme will act upon, while product is what will it become after the enzyme has acted upon it. So in the mouth, the secretion in the mouth is called saliva. Saliva comes from salivary gland. Saliva. So let's make it mouth. Saliva. And what we produce there is called ptyalin. The enzyme is ptyalin. The pH medium is alkaline. Now it should be noted that all the enzymes in the body operate at alkaline medium except the enzymes of the stomach. Then you have the substrate. Substrate is what the saliva, the ptyalin is going to act upon. It acts on sugar compared to maltose, or on starch rather. It acts on starch compared to maltose. Then you have the stomach. After the food has been digested in the mouth, from the starch is selected upon to maltose. Don't forget the 3 classes of food that can be digested. We have 6 classes of food. We have carbohydrate, we have protein, we have fat and oil, then we have minerals, we have vitamins, then we have water. These 3 already are in liquid forms. They are not in big form, so they don't need to be broken down. They don't need to be digested. They can just be absorbed straight. But these 3, they are in big form. They needed to be broken down. So this carbon dioxide will be broken down until it's formed glucose. Protein will be broken down until it has formed amino acid. While food, fat and oil will be broken down to what we call fatty acids and glycerols. Fatty acids and glycerols. Now, all this breaking down will occur at different locations along the alimentary canal. Now, the first one now, in the mouth, I've explained that. In the mouth, the starch will be acted upon. Starch is other carbohydrate. Starch is disaccharide. Carbohydrate is polysaccharide. Saccharin means sugar. So you have 2 sugar elements here. So it's broken down to maltose. Now, in the stomach now, because the food now called chyme, we move from the mouth through esophagus to the stomach. The movement of food in esophagus is called peristalsis. Peristalsis is zigzag movement of food in the esophagus. The food moves wave-like pattern and it goes to the stomach. In this place, you have sphincter. This sphincter is called cardiac sphincter. A sphincter is a ring of muscle. This one is called pyloric sphincter. Cardiac sphincter is a ring of muscle that check the entrance and exit of certain part of the body. You also have in the anus, called anal sphincter. You have in the vagina, called vaginal sphincter. You have it in the at the teeth or nipple of the breast or of the udder, called the teeth sphincter. Now, when the food is coming down and it gets to this sphincter will relax and the food will get inside and close up. Then the stomach is going to operate. The wall of the stomach will release a juice, a secretion known as gastric juice. The word gastric means stomach, juice means liquid. Now, the gastric juice contains two enzymes, namely renin and pepsin. The renin and pepsin, both of them will operate under acidic medium. Acidic medium. This is because the wall of the stomach contains substance that look like dilute hydrochloric acid. The wall of the stomach contains substance that appear to be dilute hydrochloric acid. That dilute hydrochloric acid will convert that alkaline medium coming from the mouth to acidic medium, so that it will be very easy for these two enzymes to operate. Okay. Now, renin will act on protein, liquid protein, such as milk, and convert it to a thick cord. We call it coagulation of milk. That means it to extract water from the milk becomes so strong and becomes solid protein. Now, pepsin will act on solid protein and convert it to peptone. Pepsin will convert protein to peptone. Now, the food still continues movement and get to the duodenum. Duodenum is the U shape of the small intestine and the small part of the small intestine. In one part of the duodenum, you have the pancreas. On the other side, you have the liver. On top of the liver, you have the greenish substance called bile inside the container called gallbladder. Now, between the liver and the duodenum, there is a tiny passage which we call bile duct, through which the green material of bile flows to the duodenum. Now, the bile first of all enter the duodenum before the pancreas release its juice into it. What does that bile do? The bile will secrete, will come from gallbladder through bile duct into duodenum, and it performs three functions. Number one, it converts the acidic medium to alkaline medium, so that the enzymes of pancreas can operate. The bile converts acidic medium coming from the stomach to alkaline medium, so that the pancreatic enzymes can operate. Number two, the bile emulsify fat. It breaks fat to droplets, meaning it increases the surface area of fat so that it will be easy for reaction to take place on the fat. Number three, it also makes the chyme more watery. The name of the content now is no longer feces. It's no longer food or bolus. It is called chyme or chyme. It makes it more watery. Now, when that is done, pancreas releases its content. The content that's in duodenum, we have pancreas releasing content known as pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice contains three enzymes, namely amylase, lipase, and trypase. Three enzymes: amylase, lipase, and trypase. Now, all this will operate under alkaline condition. Why? Because the bile has converted acidic medium to alkaline medium before the pancreas releases its content. Now, amylase is taken from the word starch. Amylase. So amylase will convert any starch that is remaining in that food that escaped the mouth into maltose. Starch to maltose. Just the same work that is done by taurine. Lipase will convert any lipid or fat and oil to fatty acids and glycerol. Fatty acids and glycerols. Then the trypase will act on peptone. Trypase is on the protein side. It acts on the peptone and converts it to peptide. Peptone to peptide. and polypeptides. Then the food continues its movement to the second part of small intestine called ileum. It's no longer called chyme. When you get to ileum, it is called chyme. I want you to understand the changes in the name. Before the animal takes it, it is called food. By the time it gets to the mouth, it's called bolus. Bolus in the mouth. In the stomach, it becomes the chyme. As it leaves the stomach to small intestine, it's called chyme. As it leaves duodenum to ileum, it's called chyle. Now, when you get to the ileum, the wall of the ileum still continue to secrete some of the materials that so the package, we can say package juice still continue, and it produces some enzymes in the ileum. These enzymes include maltase, lactase, fructase, lipase, and peptidase. Those type of enzymes are produced in the ileum. So the first point of digestion is mouth, second point of digestion is stomach, third of digestion is duodenum, last part of digestion is ileum. So these 5 enzymes are secreted in the wall of the ileum. The maltase, all of them operate at alkaline medium. Maltase convert maltose to glucose. Lactase convert lactose to glucose. Glucose is monosaccharide, lactose is disaccharide. Fructose convert fructose. Convert fructose to glucose. Lipase will still convert any fat and oil that remain to fatty acids and glycerols. Then peptidase will convert peptone to polypeptide. Now these are the, we convert polypeptide, we convert polypeptide or peptides and polypeptides to amino acid. So the end product of digestion now will become glucose from starch or carbohydrate, fat acid and glycerol from fat and oil, and amino acid from protein. This end product will be inside the ileum. Digestion starts from the mouth, it ends at the ileum, second part of small intestine. Now, at the ileum, another thing will happen there. That one is called absorption. I've mentioned that absorption is a process by which the food substances that are digested is now absorbed to the bloodstream through the villi. The wall of the intestine has some finger-like projection called villi. But singular, it is villus. This villi is shaped. The villi has this shape. That's this shape. Then it has, these are blood vessels. This is lactic. Then it has something that covers it, which we call epithelium. This epithelium stay and cover it. You can have hundreds of these villi inside this ileum. You can have as many as possible, as 100 inside of it. Now, this is called epithelium. This is called blood vessel or blood capillary. This is called lacteal. Blood enters through what we call mesenteric artery. Mesenteric artery, and blood leaves the place through what we call hepatic portal vein. Good. A periportal vein is between the stomach and the liver, or between the gut and the liver. Okay, good. Now, each of these is called villus. You have plenty of it called villi. Now, when the excess food is coming, that means the glucose, the level of it is coming now. The one that itself will be too big to penetrate the epithelium, but the amino acid and the glucose, the two of them will find their way through epithelium, and then they will enter the blood vessel, and blood will carry them to all parts of the body. But the fatty acids and glycerol will not be able to enter the epithelium. It will enter the lacteal, and it go to where we call the lymphatic system in the body, and it go to the jugular bone section of the neck, and empty the content into the bloodstream. So it is inside the ileum that the amino acid and glucose will enter the bloodstream. That's called absorption. Meanwhile, the fatty acid and glycerol will enter the lacteal, and it will go to the lymphatic system, and later be introduced to the blood at the jugular vein in the neck. So after digestion has completed in the duodenum, the digested food moves into the ileum, and in the ileum, all the amino acid, fatty and glycerol, and glucose are absorbed through the villi into the bloodstream. Now, the undigested food still continue the movement and get to the cecum. In the cecum, if it is in rabbit or in the pig, if they have taken grass, there are bacteria here that break that particular bacteria, that break the cellulose of the grass, that break it down into a useful form of glucose. So there are bacteria here in the ruminant, so now, and also in the rabbit as well. Then it continues and get into the colon, where there will be absorption of water will be absorbed, and the chyme become the waste product, which we call feces, now fecal waste, becomes solid. It now broken to pellets. Yeah, broken to pellets, and then it gets out of the anus as an excrement. That process is called egestion. The process by which undigested food get out of the anus is called ejection. While the process by which the bloodstream takes the digested food to all parts of the body is called assimilation. This is the end of digestion in monogastric animals. This is the end of digestion in monogastric animals. Let's look at digestion in polygastric animals. Digestion in polygastric animals. Digestion in polygastric animals. Now, digestion in polygastric animals. Polygastric animals are animals that have complex stomach. They have 4 stomach compartments. Now note this: every animal has only one stomach. Every animal has only one stomach, but for the polygastric animals, that one stomach is divided to 4 compartments or chambers, and so we call them polygastric animals or ruminant animals because they are able to chew the cud. Now, the first stomach of the ruminant animals now, or polygastric animals, have 4 stomach. Have 4 stomach compartments known as rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. So when you come from esophagus, the first stomach you are going to meet is rumen. Rumen is the largest stomach. It also contains bacteria that will digest cellulose. Meanwhile, abomasum is the last stomach, last compartment, and is the true stomach because it contains enzymes. due to presence of digestive enzymes. That's renin and pepsin. Reticulum and omasum, they are just like passages to the two stomachs, to the first other two stomachs. Okay, now how does digestion occur in ruminant animals? The ruminant animals, when they take their food, majorly grasses, they eat these grasses or any other green plant and they swallow it to the mouth. Saliva is mixed with it, and any starch that is there that could be digested quickly will be broken down from starch to maltose. Now it goes to the stomach. In the first part of the stomach that the food goes to is called the rumen. Rumen is a very large stomach. It's a very large stomach. This rumen, this reticulum, this omasum, and this abomasum, the fourth one. So number 1, 2, number 3, number 4. Now, in the rumen contains bacteria that will act on the cellulose and break it down so that other enzymes can operate on it. Don't forget, only ruminant animal can digest cellulose because of the presence of the bacteria in the rumen. For the other animals that are monogastric animals, they cannot digest cellulose. Examples of polygastric animals are cattle, sheep, and goat. Now, after that, the food moves from rumen to reticulum and then goes back to the mouth. The process by which the food goes back to the mouth through the esophagus is called anti-peristaltic movement. Anti-peristaltic. Why is that? Because the downward movement of food through esophagus is called peristaltic movement or peristalsis. When the animal swallows the food and it goes to the stomach, the process by which it goes through the esophagus is called peristalsis. Now, the opposite movement back to the mouth from the reticulum is called anti-peristaltic movement. Then the food gets back to the mouth and the animal chew it again. What really happens is this: when animals are eating, it's like the ruminant, they rush the food and take it to the rumen. The rumen store the food temporarily, and when the animal finish eating and go and sit down and lie and begin to rest, the food is now brought back to the mouth for regurgitation or for the grinding or for the chewing. The rumen also adds some liquid to the food there to make it a bit watery. Then when it gets to the mouth, the animal chew it again or regurgitate it again. Then it's swallowed second time. But when it is swallowed, the food now will not go back to the rumen. It goes to the omasum straight. From the omasum, it moves to the abomasum. Don't forget, abomasum is the true stomach. It's not the biggest stomach, but it's the true stomach because it contains digestive enzymes. In the omasum, digestive enzymes will act. Digestive enzymes will act on the food in the stomach. And digestive enzymes like the renin and pepsin will act on it and will convert them to the respective products. And then the food will move to the small intestine. The whole process of food being swallowed, go to rumen, reticulum, then move back to the mouth, and is swallowed to muscle. The whole process put together is called rumination. What do I call it? Yes, rumination. Rumination is the process by which the animal ingests or swallows the food to the stomach, go through the other stomach, and go back to the mouth, teeth, or the mouth grind it again by the teeth, and is sent back to the stomach. Don't go to another part of the stomach. The whole process put together is rumination. And the animals that can do that are called ruminant animals. Animals that are capable of ruminating are called ruminant animals. Now, from this duodenum down to the rest of the body, the digestive process will be the same as I've studied in the ruminant animals. The digestive process will be the same, right from the mouth down to right from the duodenum down to the part of the body. It is the same. So this is the study of ruminant and non-ruminant animals, as we have said. The polygastric animals had a 4 compartments: rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. and the true stomach is abnormal because it has digestive enzymes. Meanwhile, the largest stomach is rumen. The other two, reticulum or masum, are just supportive. Now, welcome back. Let's go to circulatory system. Circulatory system. This system comprises of all the organs and tissues that are responsible for circulation of blood from the heart and to other parts of the body and part of the heart in the body of farm animals. The organs that are involved include the blood vessels, the blood vessels, and the heart. The blood vessels, and the heart. Now, we have the blood. The blood is a fluid tissue, and it's produced from certain bones in the body of farm animals. Now, the blood is divided to 4 types. We have to call the white blood cells. We have to call the red blood cells. We have to call the plasma, blood plasma, and then we have to call the blood platelets. The white blood capsule are also called the leukocytes, while the red blood cells are called the erythrocytes, and then the plasmas are called thrombocytes. White platelets are called excuse me, as white platelets say, platelets will be number 3, platelets, blood platelets, which we call the thrombocytes, and lastly the plasma, blood plasma. The white blood capsule, this is the white portion of the blood. It is made of white blood cells, and they are produced from the long bones in the body, like the bones of the humerus and bones of the femur. And most of them belong to the group called phagocytes. Phagocytes. Most of them belong to the group of phagocytes. Phagocytes are certain organisms that are able to engulf, swallow, and digest other enzymes. So the white blood capsule, most of them belong to the phagocytes, which help to protect the body against any antibody or against any foreign body. Any foreign body that enters the blood that is not familiar with the blood, the white blood capsule will be released and it will engulf like a amoeba. It will engulf. That means it will go around that particular substance and it will destroy it. White blood capsule is for protection of the body, of the blood. The red blood cells, they contain red blood capsules. These red capsules are called the hemoglobin. The red blood cell is red because it contains hemoglobin. What is the function of hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is that body that enables that carries oxygen from the lungs to other parts of the body. Hemoglobin is one that carries oxygen. It will combine with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. So it's in the blood. It is what gives the red blood capsule or red blood cell its characteristic red color. So hemoglobin helps to carry oxygen from the lungs to other parts of the body. Red blood capsules are formed from the short bones of the body, like the bones of the phalanges and carpa and phalanges, or tarsa and phalanges. Okay, the platelets. The platelets is called thrombocyte. This is the part of the blood that helps in blood clotting. This is part of the blood that helps in blood clotting. Whenever there is a cut on the skin, the platelets will flow to the place and will merge the place up, and the blood will stop flowing. It's called thrombocyte. Then plasma. Plasma is the liquid portion of the blood. The liquid portion of the blood, it is the plasma that carries other blood cells, like white blood cells, red blood cells, and plasma. The platelets, they are embedded in the plasma. Plasma carries them around. So plasma is made up of 90% water and 10% dissolved substances. Well, plasma is made of 90% water in the body of animal and 10% dissolved substances. Meaning that there could be substances in the plasma. All these include the nitrogenous waste, include carbon dioxide, including sometimes oxygen that are carried, and all other hormones and enzymes that blood must carry from one place to another. They flow through the plasma. They flow through the plasma. The white blood causes the blood has lifespan of about 6 months, at which they begin to destroy, and a new cell is produced from the bone marrow. Now, the blood vessels. The blood vessels are the containers that carries the blood around the body, starting from the heart to other parts of the body and then back to the heart. The blood vessels are of 3 types. We have what we call the arteries. The arteries. We have what we call the veins. Then we have what we call the blood capillaries. The arteries, the veins, and the blood capillaries. The arteries are the blood vessels that convey blood from the heart to other parts of the body, while the veins are the blood vessels that carries blood from other parts of the body and return them back to the heart. Then the capillaries are the blood vessels, tiny blood vessels in between arteries and veins. They are located upon each of the organs in the body that the blood is pumped to. It's upon these blood capillaries that materials are exchanged, like this oxygen to CO2 and vice versa. Now, arteries, when broken down to smaller particles, to smaller blood vessels, we call them arterioles. Veins, when broken down to smaller blood vessels, we call them venous. The blood capillaries are small. We don't need to break them down. Now, the blood now moves around the body in this order. You have the heart. The blood comes out to the arteries. Arteries give it to the arterioles. Arterioles give it to the blood capillaries. Blood capillaries take it to the venous. The venous take it to the veins. The vein return it to the heart. This is how the blood circulates around the body. Now, you may need to know differences between the arteries and the veins. You may want to know differences between the arteries and the vein. Differences between the arteries and the vein. Differences between the arteries and the vein. Let's say these are the arteries, and then these are the veins. Differences between the arteries and the veins. Arteries, they carry blood, or let's start with this. Artery, they are muscular. The tube is muscular and narrow lumen. The lumen means the diameter of the blood vessel. Veins, they are thinner. So this one is thicker, muscular, thicker, and narrow lumen. This one is thinner and wide lumen. Now, another thing you know is that arteries have no valves. Valves ensure one-way flow of materials. Meanwhile, veins have valves. This is to prevent reflux. They have valves. Valves prevent backward flow of the blood. The reason why arteries would not need to have valve is because it carries blood under high pressure out of the heart. Meanwhile, veins return blood under low pressure to the heart. So there's every tendency that blood may want to flow back in the veins, but the valves prevent them from doing so. Now, arteries carry blood out of the heart. The vein returns blood to the heart. Returns blood to the heart. The arteries Arteries, all arteries carry oxygenated blood except pulmonary arteries. Except pulmonary artery. This one, all arteries, all veins carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary vein. So all the arteries carry blood that's rich in oxygen except the pulmonary artery. But the one that the vein carries blood that does not have oxygen, deoxygenated blood, except the pulmonary vein. Then arteries carry blood under high pressure. There is one carry blood under low pressure. The largest artery is called largest artery is called aorta. Largest artery, the largest artery is the aorta, while the largest vein is called vena cava. Largest vein is the vena cava. Largest vein is the vena cava. So now these are differences between arteries and vein. Arteries have very thin wall, but very muscular. You see, and they have narrow lumen. Lumen means like this. But veins, they have thinner walls. This is artery. Thick walls. But now lumen. But this is vein. Vein has tiny walls, but it is wider lumen. And then this one does not have any valve, but this one has valve like that to make the blood to flow. If the blood flow this way, it goes back to the heart. But if it's not to go back, reflux, these valves will close. Then they carry blood out of the heart. It's not return blood to the heart. All arteries in the blood except pulmonary artery, they all carry blood except pulmonary vein, and etc. Now that's all about arteries and vein. Blood vessels. The blood capillaries are located on the surface of the organs of the body. It is on the surface of the blood capillaries that materials are changed. For example, during the respiration, the oxygen will be breathed in, while the CO2 will be breathed out. It's on top of the blood capillaries that is on top of that surround the alveoli. That's where the oxygen is changed to CO2 and CO2 to oxygen. Now the heart. The heart is a pumping organ that pumps blood around the body. The heart is situated in the thoracic cavity of the body, enclosed by the thoracic bones. That means the ribs. The heart works in conjunction with the blood vessels to pump blood around the body. The heart on its own is divided to two parts. The heart is divided to two parts, left and right parts. This left and this is the right part of the heart. This wall that breaks the two to two is called septum and does not allow communication between the two halves. The heart is also divided transversely into two upper and lower halves. The upper part, the upper part is called the auricles, while the lower parts are called the ventricles. But you do have communication between the upper and lower halves. This communication is guarded by what we call the valves. These valves allow blood to flow from upper part, auricle, to the ventricle, and not vice versa. This valve here is called bicuspid valve, while this valve here is called tricuspid valve. Now, the heart also has the point through which blood enters and through which blood goes out. Blood enters the heart through the auricles. Blood enters the heart through the auricles, and blood goes out of the heart through the ventricles. So we can say this is left auricle because this is left side. Then this is left ventricle because this is left side. This is right auricle, or this is the right side, like the man or the heart is facing you. So this is the right, and this is the right ventricle. Good. Now, I've told you that the blood vessel that takes blood out of the heart is called the artery. And this is the main artery. This one is called aorta. It's the largest artery. The blood vessel that returns blood to the heart is called vein. And largest vein is the vena cava. This is the vena cava. This is also artery. But this artery does not carry oxygen. Oxygen is carried through this side. This side does not carry oxygen. So this artery is abnormal artery because it doesn't carry oxygen. So we rather call it pulmonary artery. This vein is supposed not to carry oxygen, but it does carry oxygen. Because it carries oxygen, we call it pulmonary vein. Okay. Now, blood from the body, from the lungs, enter through vena cava. Then goes through the auricle. The heart pumps it to the ventricle, then from the ventricle to the aorta, to other part of the body except the lungs. And when the other part of the body have used the oxygen in the blood will retired diagonally from here, down back here, carries back here. It does not have oxygen. Then this one, excuse me, the blood comes like this. Sorry. By the time when you go in, it goes to the lungs. To all the parts of the body, it uses oxygen. Okay, good. Let's do it this way for better understanding. This one, oxygen flows here. This one, no oxygen flows here. So, from here now, the blood is released to all the parts of the body. This part of the body have different organs that use the blood. The blood without oxygen, now flows and come here. Flows and come here. There is no oxygen. So blood without oxygen comes in. This is the vein. This should be the vena cava. Sorry for the mistake. Vena cava. This one is the pulmonary. This pulmonary vein. Then the blood enters this place without oxygen, goes through right auricle, goes through right ventricle. Blood without oxygen flows out of pulmonary vein. Then it goes from here up. Blood without oxygen goes from here up and go to the two lungs to pick oxygen. And then it goes from here back inside the heart, carry its oxygen along. So blood that flows this side carries oxygen from the lungs. It's carry oxygen. It's carry oxygen. So all this blood is called oxygenated blood. because it carries oxygen down to the heart, and then from the heart, out of the heart, it still carries oxygen to the vena cava. It carries oxygen to all the organs like the kidney, like the heart itself, then the kidney, the liver, and the gut, and then the hand limbs and gonads. All of them will collect the oxygen with the blood, and the blood, the oxygen in the blood will be spent, and the blood without oxygen, which have received CO2 now, as the product of cellular respiration, CO2 has been released. We carry CO2. That means it does not oxygen, it carries CO2. So it carries it from here, carries it into the right auricle. Right auricle now carries blood without oxygen. And that makes it vena cava. So, blood without oxygen flows in, then it pumps the blood to RA, then to RV, then from there it goes out without oxygen. This is deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood. This is also deoxygenated blood. And the blood is now returned to the lungs. In the lung, the CO2 is expelled out and oxygen is collected. And the journey goes back like that. Now, that's a short way to explain the heart, but not totally exhausted. Now, let's go. These are the heart. The function of the heart is to pump blood. The process by which the heart pumps blood is called heartbeat. The process by which heart pumps blood is called the heartbeat. This heartbeat occurs in two ways, and we call it mechanism of heartbeat. The first one is called diastole, and the second one is called systole. During diastole, the two auricles contract, and the blood flows through the valves into the ventricles. Don't forget, the blood coming from the lungs has entered left auricle, carry oxygen. The blood coming from the other part of the body has entered the heart, in this case, carry no oxygen. So this side, no oxygen, but there is oxygen here. Now, the two walls cannot communicate. Blood cannot diffuse because of septum, the thick wall that separates the two of them, the two halves. Now, during diastole, right auricle and left auricle will contract, and blood will flow to the ventricles. Oxygenated blood that is coming from the lungs will flow through vesicle valve to the left ventricle, while the oxygenated blood that is coming from the other part of the body will flow through right auricle to the right ventricle. This is called diastole. Then, immediately that happens, the second stage will take over. That is systole. The blood vessel, the ventricles will contract. Then this valve will close. This valve also close. Once these two valves are closed, blood cannot flow back. Here also, blood cannot flow back because the two of them are veins, pulmonary vein and vena cava, and all veins carry valves, so blood cannot flow back because the valve prevents reflux. But here, this valve closes. There are no valves here because they are arteries. They are opened. So the blood is pumped under high pressure out of the two arteries. This is the main artery called aorta that takes blood to other parts of the body. So during systole, oxygenated blood, the two ventricles contract, and oxygenated blood flows from left ventricle through aorta to all other organs in the body, distributing oxygen to them. Then, during systole also, the right ventricle contract, carry deoxygenated blood out of the pulmonary arteries and take it to the lungs so that it can receive oxygen, which will now use to circulate around the body again. That is the heart. The heart, the mechanism of blood circulation has even been illustrated from this diagram I put up. Blood circulation occurs in two styles. we are what to call the systemic circulation of blood. Systemic circulation of blood. And what we call the pulmonary circulation of blood. Pulmonary circulation of blood. Now, systemic circulation of blood. This is circulation of blood between the heart and all other organs of the body except the two lungs. Systemic circulation is circulation of blood between the heart and all other organs in the body except the two lungs. What that means is that blood will be released from the heart. You go to all other organs and then return back to the heart. Now, this is systemic circulation from left ventricle through aorta, then goes to all other organs of the body, then it's collected back again together, and it enters here. So this is systemic circulation from here now to here now. Give it to this one. Now, this is systemic circulation from here down. But pulmonary circulation is circulation of blood between the heart and the two lungs. So for pulmonary now, blood flows out of pulmonary artery and then goes to the two lungs and returns through the pulmonary vein. So this is pulmonary circulation to the lungs. Pulmonary circulation involves the heart and the lungs. But systemic circulation involves the heart and other parts of the organs of the body. Let's go to respiratory system. Respiratory system comprises of all the organs and tissues in the body that are responsible for respiration, the gaseous exchange between the heart or between the lungs and the atmosphere. I take it again. Respiratory system comprises of all the organs and tissues that are involved in the respiratory system or in the respiratory process in farm animals. And this respiration is the process of gaseous exchange between the lungs and the atmosphere. Now, the major organ that is of importance under the system are the two lungs. The lungs are located in thoracic cavity and they are covered or protected by the breastbone and the ribs. Both the true, the false, and the floating ribs, they protect the two lungs. Now, a short diagram will enable us to understand how the lungs behave. Now, this is called the trachea. Or trachea. Then we call this one the glottis. This is bronchus, plural bronchi. This is a bronchioles ending in alveoli. This is alveoli or air sac. Then this is called pleural cavity. This is called inner pleural membrane. This is called the inner pleural membrane. This is called the outer pleural membrane. Outer pleural membrane. Now, all these are air sacs or alveoli. This is bronchial. Then this is bronchus. This is trachea. This is glottis. Now, underneath of it, you are what to call the diaphragm. Diaphragm is useful for respiration. Diaphragm. Now, you also have what to call cut ribs and intercostal muscles. So you have cut ribs. These are what I'm drawing are the cut ribs. Then you have it on both sides. You also have it on this side so as to create the cage. Now, this is cut rib. One of the ribs that is got into the sternum that is cut. Then you have intercostal muscle. The word costal means bone. Inter means between bones. It is this intercostal muscle that helps the ribs to move up and down during respiration. So now this is the structure of the respiratory system. This one now is called the right lung. But the left lung, I've broken it into structure for you to see. You have the trachea, the glottis work with the epiglottis and then to the buccal cavity of the mouth. Then the trachea, which is also called the windpipe. The trachea is also called the windpipe. Then to the bronchus, plural bronchi. Then to the bronchioles. Then to the air sacs or alveoli. Or singular is alveolus. Singular alveolus. How does respiration occur? The process by which respiration occurs is called mechanism of respiration. Mechanism of respiration. The mechanism of respiration occurs in two stages. We have what we call inspiration. Inspiration or inhalation, to inhale. This is the process by which air is breathed in. The second process is called expiration. Or exhalation. Excuse me. Exhalation. Okay. Or expiration. To inspire and to expire. Expiration. Okay, good. During inspiration, air is breathed in. But during expiration, air is breathed out. This is what happened. Before you can breathe in, something happen to this diaphragm. This diaphragm is in a shape called dome. Dome like an arc. For respiration to occur, some changes will take place. Number one, the dome shape diaphragm will contract and flattens out. Diaphragm contracts and flattens out. To flatten means it becomes straight. In the process of becoming straight, then the intercostal muscle also will contract and the ribs will be raised. Intercostal muscle contracts and ribs are raised. That's the second stage. Number one, dome diaphragm contracts and flattens out. Two, intercostal muscles. These muscles will shrink, contract, and the ribs are raised. Once that happens, then this breastbone moves forward and upward. Move forward and upward. What is breastbone? Breastbone is also called sternum. Is the bone here that joins the two ribs together at the chest region. This bone is called breastbone. Once you breathe in, inspiration to occur, it moves forward and upward. What will happen is, the next thing is that there will be increase in the volume of thoracic cavity. Increase in volume of thoracic cavity. So I mean, there will be more space. There will be more space in the thorax. This more space in the thorax will create a fall in pressure. There will be a fall in pressure in the thoracic cavity. Then air will rush in from the environment through the nostrils to the trachea, to the bronchi, to the bronchioles, to the air sacs. That is inspiration. I take it again. For inspiration to occur, the dome diaphragm will contract and flattens out. Number 2, the intercostal muscles will also contract and the ribs will be raised. Number 3, the breastbone, which we call sternum, which we call the bone of the chest, will move forward and upward. Thereby, there will be increase in the volume of thoracic cavity, and there will be fall in pressure inside the thoracic cavity. The fall in pressure will make heart and will make lungs to have desire to obtain more air to fill the space. Then, air will rush in from the environment through the nostrils into the glottis, to the trachea, then to the bronchi, then to the bronchioles, and then to the alveoli or to the air sacs. That's the end of inspiration. On the alveoli, you have the blood capillaries. The oxygen, the blood capillary will trap the oxygen and will take it to the cells of the alveoli. Inside the cells, you have the mitochondria where the oxygen will be used, and CO2 will be replaced, will be returned to the capillary. The CO2 is brought back to the alveoli. Then, immediately, expiration will follow, breathing out. During expiration, everything will now be relaxation. The first that happens is that the intercostal muscles that contracted the other time will relax and return to its dome shape. Number 2, the intercostal muscles also will relax and the ribs will be lowered. Then, number 3, there will be the thoracic cavity, the breastbone also will move backward and inward. The breastbone, that's the sternum, will move backward and inward. Then there will be increase in the pressure on the lungs because there will be decrease in the volume of thoracic cavity. There will be decrease in the volume of thoracic cavity and there will be increase in pressure on the lungs. This pressure will force air to be pushed out of the lungs through the bronchioles, bronchi, to the trachea, glottis, and then to the buccal cavity and out of the nostrils to the environment. So during expiration, the process is opposite of inspiration. These two are what we call the mechanism of expiration. During inspiration, oxygen will be used. While during expiration, CO will be breathing, CO2 will breathe out of the body. Now we move to reproduction in farm animals. Reproduction in farm animals. Now, reproductive system refers to all the organs and tissues that are involved in the process of reproduction in farm animals. All the organs and tissues that are involved in the reproduction in farm animals, like in male animals, we have the testes, we have the penis, and we have the other accessory gland like Cowper's gland, prostate gland, and the pineal gland. In female, we have organs like the ovary, we have organs like the womb or uterus, and we have some other hormones and the glands in the body that all play together for reproduction in female animals. What is reproduction? Reproduction is the process by which living organisms produce a new one that resembles them in an attempt to ensure the continuity of life. Now, in animals, reproduction is sexual. That means we have the male and the female part must conjugate to produce a new offspring. We need to understand the reproductive processes in male animal and female animals for us to be able to understand the process of reproduction in farm animals. On the board, I have drawn the diagram of a male reproductive system in a rabbit. This also can be used for other male reproductive systems, other male animals like goats, like cattle, etc. Now, the most important organ in the reproductive system of a male animal are the testes. The most important organ in the reproductive system of a male animal are the testes. The testes perform certain functions. Number 1, the testes are responsible for production of hormones called testosterone or androgen in male animal. This hormone testosterone or androgen is known as the male hormone. It's the hormone of libido. It's the hormone that makes a male animal to behave as a male animal, that enables the male animal to meet the female animal. Now, number 2, the testis is also responsible for production of sperm cells. The testis is also responsible for production of sperm cells. The sperm cells are produced during a meiotic division process known as spermatogenesis. Testes are produced in a meiotic division process known as spermatogenesis. We call it meiotic because it's a form of meiosis where diploid become haploid. 2N will become N haploid. It happens at the gonads. Okay. Now, when the sperm cells are produced by the testes during the process of spermatogenesis, they are stored in the epididymis. Epididymis are coiled tubes around the testes. The sperm cells are stored in the epididymis until maturity. After maturity, the sperm cells moved through vas deferens to the uterus masculinus, where it is stored. The sperm cells will be stored in the uterus masculinus. Uterus masculinus is also called seminal vesicle. It's also called seminal vesicle. The sperm cells will be stored here until it is required, during which the animal meets a female animal, and the sperm cells will be released into the female body system. And that process is called ejaculation of semen. Now, we have somatic cord. Somatic cord is a blood vessel that carries blood from the other part of the body and take it straight to the testis. Testis is a very viable organ. It must be supplied with blood so that the process of hormonal activities can continue and the process of production of spermatozoa, sperm cells, can continue. So the blood that's rich in food and oxygen is supplied through the somatic cord to the testis. Now, we have the scrotal sac that cover and protect the testis and suspended it outside the body of a male animal. The other thing you need to note are the glands: the prostate gland, the corpus gland, and the perineal gland. These three glands, they release what we call, they are called accessory glands, and they release something we call seminal fluid. Seminal fluid. This is a fluid that is produced from these three glands when the male animal is sexually excited. These three fluids, the function they do is to provide alkaline medium for spermatozoa, during which is ejaculated to the female body system. It's also to provide food that the spermatozoa will eat should in case it delays in fertilizing the eggs at the female part. Number 3 is that it conducts the sperm cells. The sperm cells are motile, they are capable of movement, but they need the medium by which they can be moved. That medium is provided by the seminal fluid, which are produced from the three accessory glands, which are perineal gland, corpus gland, and the prostate gland. The hole inside the penis through which the urine will come out, or the sperm cell will come out, that hole is called the urethra. And the head of the male body system is called the penis. These are the male body systems and the function of their part. When animals are to be castrated, it is this somatic cord that we cut. Once you cut the somatic cord, blood cannot flow to the testis. Testis will be dead. The animal will still be alive, but the testis will not be able to produce semen, with which it can be able to fertilize a male animal, a female animal, and it will be able to produce hormone testosterone, with which it will maintain erection and mate the animal. So in this case, this testis is rendered useless during the time by castration. But if it is by birth control, which is often done in man, birth control, we call that one vasectomy. We don't do it in animal, we do it in vasectomy. Vasectomy, what we do is to cut the vas deferens. Once you cut the vas deferens here, when we cut it off, the sperm cell cannot be able to get to the uterus masculinus. And when the sperm cell cannot get there, there's no way that sperm cell cannot get through the urethra and fertilize the egg. But the animal will still be alive because the testes are undisturbed. And once the semen testis cannot flow, the testis will no longer produce the semen, but it will still be alive. and the animal can be experiencing production of the seminal fluid, which comes from the prostate gland and the Kaplan's gland and peregrine gland whenever the animal is excited, but there will be no sperm cells inside of it. Now let's go to the female reproductive system. The female reproductive system is what I've drawn on the board. Let's say for rabbits and also for other farm animals. The most important organ of the female reproductive system are the ovaries as well as the womb. The ovaries as well, but the most important one are the ovaries. Now, what is are the functions of the ovary? The ovary is responsible for the production of most of the female reproductive hormones, such as hormone or estrogen, which is the hormone of heat, such as hormone progesterone, the hormone that sustains pregnancy, and other hormones that we are going to mention. The ovary is also responsible for production of the egg cell in a process known as oogenesis. The process whereby ovary produces the female sex cell, which is egg cell or oocyte, is process known as oogenesis. Oogenesis is the process by which the ovary produce the egg cell or egg oocyte or embryo. This egg cell is dropped, not embryo, oocyte or egg cell. The egg is or ovum is released. Now, for this to be possible, there are two enzymes that will work. The first enzyme is called enzyme follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone, FSH. Follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, as well as luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone, called LH. Both these hormones are produced or secreted by the ovary. Now, follicle stimulating hormone would prepare the ovary, will stimulate the ovary to manufacture or to mature one or more of its eggs. There are thousands of eggs, premature eggs in the ovary. These eggs are located inside Graafian follicle. So, follicle stimulating hormone will message the Graafian follicle to produce certain number of eggs. Once these eggs are produced, the luteinizing hormone will rupture the wall of the Graafian follicle and the eggs will be released. I take it again. The two hormones that operate before ovulation can take place are follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. The follicle stimulating hormone will stimulate the Graafian follicle to mature certain number of eggs. Once these eggs are matured, the luteinizing hormone will rupture the wall of the Graafian follicle and the eggs will be ovulated. The eggs will be ovulated into the funnel. The expanded head of the oviduct is called the funnel. The oviduct is a passage from the funnel to the uterus. It's also called the fallopian tube. Now, once this egg is ovulated, the eggs enter the funnel and it stays in the fallopian tube, awaiting sperm, which will fertilize it from the male animal. Now, during the process by which the eggs is reproduced and ovulated, the animal gets on heat because the hormone estrogen will be released to make the animal have desire for mating. In that process, if the animal meets a male animal, the female animal will yield itself and will be mated. And once mating takes place, the spermatozoa or sperm cell will move through the vestibule into the womb and then go up and meet the egg in the oviduct. Once the two happens like that the sperm meet the egg cell, there will be fertilization. Fertilization is the union or fusion of the male sex gamete called sperm cells and the female sex gamete known as ovum or egg to form a zygote, which is also called the embryo. Now, once the zygote is formed, it begins to descend. And when it gets to the uterus, it is captured and attached to the wall of the uterus. That process is called implantation. The process by which the wall of the uterus captures the fertilized egg and hold it tight to itself is called implantation. The fertilized egg or embryo or fetus continue to develop. develop to the adult, to the matured fully, and then it is delivered. Now, the other thing that happens is that the carpus gland and pineal gland, they also secrete slimy substance when the female animal is on it. This slimy substance lubricates the vaginal passage to enable painless penetration of penis during mating. The embryo develops, and when it goes to maturity, it is given birth to through the vulva of the female animal. This is all about the production in female animals. It's controlled by the hormone. But for the poultry, this diagram represents the process of egg formation in poultry. Process of egg formation in poultry. That is what this diagram is representing. How does a fowl produce eggs? Now, fowl has thousands of tiny invisible eggs inside the ovary. The eggs are located in follicles in the ovary. But unlike the mammals that have two ovaries, left and right, the bulls, they have only one ovary. They don't have the right ovary, they only have the left ovary. Or they do not have the right ovary, they do not have the right ovary, they have the left ovary. And this is the ovary on the body, only one. Now, by the hormone operating in the body of the poultry, the egg will be secreted, the hormone follicles, the hormone, and it will be received into the funnel, which is also called infundibulum. In the infundibulum, the egg or the egg cell will stay for 15 minutes, waiting for fertilization for a male sperm. If male sperm does not come, it will still continue its movement. It moves from infundibulum, it moves to the magnum to spend 3 hours. In the magnum, the albumen, which is the egg white, is secreted on the yolk, and then the chalaza is formed. The chalaza is the rope-like strand that suspends the embryo inside the albumen. Chalaza and albumen are formed in the magnum, and the total length spent there is about 3 hours. Then from there, the embryo moves to the isthmus. In the isthmus, the shell membrane will be formed around the albumen and chalaza, and equally the shape of the egg will be determined in the isthmus. Now from there, it stays for 5 minutes in the isthmus, and it goes down into the uterus. It spends in the uterus 19 to 20 hours. It spends 19 to 20 hours in the uterus, and calcium carbonate is secreted on the egg to create the eggshell. So eggshell is formed in the shell membrane. Later, the egg moves to the vagina, where the egg will cool down and is later laid. Now the embryo moves to the uterus or the shell gland, where it stays for 19 to 20 hours, during which calcium carbonate will be secreted upon the albumen or upon the shell membrane, and that one will produce what we call the eggshell. The eggshell will be secreted in the shell gland, and then the egg moves down to the vagina, where it stays for about 10 minutes. The egg will stay for about 10 minutes in the vagina for it to cool and for the eggshell to be hardened. Thereafter, it is laid through the cloaca or the vent. Now, the whole journey of egg from the infundibulum down to the cloaca or vent is just about 26 hours. 30 minutes after one egg is laid, another one is ovulated. This is all about process of egg formation in poultry. Make sure you read and you watch it again and again and understand it to answer some of the questions that may pop up on your screen.